Hello everyone, welcome back to Horror Mystery Rewind. Today we will talk about the horror slasher movie Terrifier 2, which was released in 2022. Please comment if any changes needed in the movie explanation or is this okay. Spoilers ahead, enjoy and take care of yourself. After being brutally attacked by Art the Clown, Corona is shown in the opening scene of the movie crawling across the floor. While Art casually checks himself in the mirror and signs his name with his own blood, he picks up the phone to dial 911. Then, in an effort to kill him, he reaches for a reflex hammer. He then crushes his skull and tears it apart to remove his internal organs, including his brain and eyes. Unknown to the employee who is sleeping, he then makes his way to a laundry in all his blood richness. Art takes off his clothes and throws his costume in the washer. While passing time, the clown is reading the newspaper when he spots a little girl wearing clown makeup. She approaches Art with fascination and begins to play with him. When the worker awakens, he observes Art playing with air, which leads us to wonder if the young girl is merely a creation of his mind. After some time has passed, Art is seen leaving the laundry after killing the employee by driving a broom handle through the man's brain. We then jump ahead a year to a teenager called Sienna Shaw in her candlelit bedroom. Her attention is devoted to completing her homemade warrior Halloween costume, which also features a pair of wings and a sword. The fact that her late father, who recently passed away from a brain tumor, designed the costume meant a lot to her. During supper with her family, Sienna's mother, Barbara, inquires about her brother, Jonathan's Halloween costume. Jonathan expresses an interest in dressing up as the infamous clown serial murderer from the news, causing her sister and mother to disagree. After dinner, Sienna discusses her brother's interest with serial killers with her mother, while upstairs, Jonathan is studying the previous year's murdering episode involving Art the Clown. Later that night, Sienna has a dream about being in a clown cafe and meeting Art the Clown. He begins by entertaining everyone present by throwing them candies, but Sienna appears uneasy from the start. When Sienna's turn comes, Art gives her a present of a soup that contains worms and a really disgusting throbbing heart. Art finally abandons the act by pulling out a submachine pistol and shooting everyone while the box fills up with blood. Despite this, Sienna manages to live and tries to flee. The guitarist and the remaining guests are burned by the clown using a flamethrower. Art approaches Sienna to kill her after using a flamethrower to set the area on fire. Sienna pulls out the warrior's blade on display in her room to serve as a shield as the clown prepares to burn her. She abruptly wakes up to the smell of burning costume wings. She tries to put out the fire to no avail, so she rushes out of the room to call her mother. Then Barbara enters carrying a fire extinguisher. Naturally furious, the mother starts lecturing daughter for leaving her candles burning when she went to bed. But Sienna insists she has extinguished the candles. She approaches what's left of her wings after her mother has left and discovers that the sword her father gave her is unharmed. On the other side of the narrative, Art the Clown and the little clown girl are watching a talk show where Vicky, the only survivor from the first movie whose face has been severely altered, is being interviewed. The clown stands up and smashes the TV after Vicky alleges that she witnessed Art commit suicide. The next day at school, Sienna's brother Jonathan is at class when he raises his hand to go to the restroom. Instead of finding the restroom, he instead encounters Art the Clown and the young girl playing with a dismembered dead raccoon. They throw the dead raccoon towards Jonathan as soon as they spot him. Jonathan, who is terrified, flees till he meets a teacher. The instructor goes to investigate the area and discovers the charred corpse nearby. While everything is happening, Sienna and her high school friends are chatting about how Vicky, the survivor of Art the Clown, injured the talk show host with her bare hands immediately after finishing the live interview. When Barbara the mother finds out that her son Jonathan has been suspended from school because the instructor believes he brought the dead raccoon to class, she becomes noticeably distressed. Following school, Sienna and her friend Ali visit a costume store to buy new wings. While Sienna is busy shopping, Ali runs across Art the Clown but doesn't look twice because she thinks it's just a person dressing up as him. Soon after, Sienna notices Art in the store, gazing at her and grinning. She is alarmed by this and runs to the register to pay when she realizes she has left her luggage downstairs. She is startled when Art suddenly dumps her bag on the table. The clown continues to remain behind her while making absurd motions. Art approaches and begins poking the shopkeeper as she walks to grab the bag, which of course makes the girl uneasy. When the shopkeeper finally reprimands him for this after observing it, Sienna decides she can't stay any longer and leaves right away. Art locks the door and closes the store when she left. He approaches the shopkeeper while carting a sizable bag. He pulls out a number of tools from his backpack as he gets ready to pay, which annoys the shopkeeper and causes him to reprimand Art. Without saying a word, Art slams a bottle against the man's head and sticks the sharp end into his eye. He then brutally beheads the shopkeeper. A mother and boy walk by Art holding the shopkeeper's head shortly after, and the son exclaims how cool it is to see such realistic Halloween stuff. After safely returning home, Sienna is welcomed by her brother, who informs her that he saw the clown at school as well as a little girl whose image he has once seen in their father's sketchbook. He starts displaying the pages to his sister, one of which disturbingly features a drawing of Art the clown and other murder victims from the previous year. He displays a sketch of Sienna wearing the warrior outfit and holding a beast's head to her on the very last page. Since their father gave Sienna a warrior sword for a reason, Jonathan insists that these ancient designs must be symbolic. She, however, is unable to believe him at this time. Barbara the mother interrupts them and tells Sienna that Jonathan has been expelled for bringing a dead possum to class. Prior to leaving the room, Sienna expresses her displeasure toward her brother. He begs her to spend this Halloween night at home with him because he fears the worst, but Sienna is unwilling to listen. When Art stops by Ali's house on the other side of town, she is overjoyed to see him because she knows him as the boy she met at the costume shop. She tells him she doesn't have anything to offer before closing the door, believing he is old enough for trick-or-treating, but he begins hammering on it, distressing Ali. When she throws some sweets into his bag and reopens the door, she immediately sees the bloody tools inside. She hides inside, shaken, and watches as Art leaves. A few hours later, Ali is getting ready for Halloween by applying eyeliner when the sound of cracking glass interrupts her. She discovers her smashed glass door when she walks downstairs and, to her astonishment, finds Art simply hanging in the kitchen. She is frightened by this and starts to flee while Art pursues her. Unfortunately, the maniac manages to catch her and viciously skins and mutilates her body with several pairs of knives and scissors after slicing her face with a knife. He then covers her exposed flesh with salt and bleach before pulling the girl's face's skin off. When Ali's mother discovers the shattered door downstairs after returning from work, she becomes terrified. She immediately goes to Ali's room where she is horrified to see Art and what's left of her daughter's dismembered body. The next scene depicts Art opening the door to Ali's home and handing out candy to trick-or-treaters while standing on Ali's mother. Some of them gripe about how sticky it is. While at a Halloween party with her other friend Brooke on the other side of town, Sienna worries about where Ali is, but Brooke calmly advises her to have fun. Back at home, Jonathan makes the decision to tell his mother about his father's symbolic drawings, but she has had enough of his disturbing interest and rips the book to shreds, hurting Jonathan. After screaming at her and receiving a slap from his mother, he makes the decision to leave. Shortly later, Barbara hears noises downstairs. The family's car has been wrecked, so she goes downstairs and immediately assumes Jonathan is responsible. However, Jonathan obviously didn't do it because he's actually outside in the driveway where he discovers the clown girl inside a weird automobile parked in front of the house. Out of panic, he runs into the house. Back at the party, Brooke sneakily informs Sienna that she's laced her drink with Molly. After a short while, Sienna gets a call from her mother, who immediately launches into a fury about how Jonathan had showered the car in shaving cream, toilet paper, and eggs. The mother finds Art sitting in the car while she is cleaning it up after the call has ended. She is instantaneously killed as he uses a shotgun to shoot off her face. When Sienna spots the young clown girl at the party, she freaks out and suffers a nervous breakdown, which sends her spinning. She appears to be the only person at the party, though, who can see the young girl, which is strange. Jonathan returns home to find her mother's corpse sitting at the dinner table. Art, after serving mashed potatoes on her empty plate and placing the remaining potatoes into her scar face, the clown enters. Jonathan tries to flee, but the clown girl stops him. He escapes the deadly couple and makes his way upstairs to see Sienna's sword. But sadly, Art captures him and sedates him with a needle injection. He then chooses to take the sword with him and picks it up. While all of this is going on, Brooke and her boyfriend Jeff are giving Sienna a ride home. However, shortly after, Sienna gets a call from Jonathan informing her that he is at the deserted carnival. But in fact, the clown girl is imitating Jonathan's voice. Sienna requests Jeff to drop her off there out of concern for her brother's security and leaves in spite of Brooke's cautions. Brooke disagrees with Jeff's suggestion that they should assist Sienna in her search for her brother because she believes that Sienna's brother has been acting strangely since his father's passing. She also says that the father had a brain tumor, which caused him to become schizophrenic. As Sienna starts to look around, Jonathan texts her to explain that he is at the Terrifier, the carnival's haunted house. Jonathan awakens within the Terrifier to the sight of the clown girl, whose entire face has now been ruptured. He is frightened by this, so he flees for his life. Art appears out of nowhere and stabs Jeff as he is on his way outside to take a dump. Then, after smashing the car window, he drags Brooke outside. However, she resists and flees. She dials Sienna for assistance as she enters the spooky mansion to take cover. She stumbles as she runs and falls into the restroom, where Art is able to track her down and corner her. Then he kills her by beating her with a spiked bat. Soon after, as Sienna enters the space, she discovers Art standing close to Brooke's body. Sienna spots Jonathan following Art as the two lock eyes and calls for him to run while grabbing a piece of wood and striking him. Despite this, the clown still manages to overpower her and beat her up, before walking away to find Jonathan. Sienna, who is still alive, gets up and discovers Art's weapon nearby. Jonathan is being tormented everywhere he tries to flee by Art the clown, who eventually grabs him and slices his cheek. Thankfully, Sienna interrupts him by coming at him from behind, causing the clown to be injured by his own weapon. Her brother travels with her, but she is compelled to quit because of her wounds. Jonathan apologizes as Sienna gathers himself because he believes the clowns only brought him here to seduce Sienna and that the reason for everything is their father's sword. The two continue leaving when Art surprises them and begins attacking Jonathan. When Sienna steps in to save her brother, Art pushes her aside and continues to beat the child. The girl doesn't give up. In order to defend her sibling, she crawls over the floor. After being struck several times, Sienna finally succeeds in grabbing the chain and starts to battle him. She beats him with it as she should and finishes him off by impaling a rod through his head. However, it seems as though he never dies since the clown reappears and lunges at Sienna, choking her. Jonathan catches the gun that is being held to Art's leg as the two struggle. After that, the kid again shoots Art, killing him. When Sienna stops breathing, her brother shakes her to get her to wake up, but when she opens her eyes, she finds her mother informing her that she is now safe. Things start to become strange at this point when she hears Jonathan exclaim that the person she is speaking to is not her mother but rather the clown girl. When she awakens from the vision, she discovers that she is the only person in the room and sets out to find Jonathan. After some time, she discovers her brother lying unconscious in front of Art and starts beating him. But instead of moving, he chokes her and throws her to the ground. The moment she stands up again, she discovers what appears to be a portal in front of her. But, as she attempts to analyze the situation, Art appears from behind her and stabs her with her father's sword before throwing her down the portal. This sends her to the water cell she dreamed of earlier in the film, which is located within the clown cafe, with a few individuals covered in blood cheerfully playing around in front of her without assisting her. She drowns as a result of being trapped. Jonathan is awakened when Art approaches him from the surface and starts eating his flesh. As he attempts to go, he screams for Sienna's assistance, and the sword that is nearby begins glowing in some way, awakening Sienna and magically curing her wounds. She easily escapes the portal and picks up the sword, which she uses to slaughter Art the clown. She uses it to behead him, killing him completely. She then runs to her brother, and the siblings embrace in relief. Meanwhile, the little clown girl enters the room and picks up Art's chopped head, carrying it away. Vicky, the single survivor of the first film, is shown inside a mental hospital in the film's closing credits. Blood runs between her knees, and she uses it to deface the wall, leaving the words Vicky and Art visible. As it turns out, she is in labor and gives birth to Art's head demonically. A nurse enters and screams in terror, as Vicky laughs uncontrollably while holding Art's head. If you like the video, subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and click on like to help the channel out. Thank you and take care.